What's up? Big Herc 916. Muscle up. It's my car channel. Over here I talk about nothing but cars, my love for cars, my passion for cars. Subscribe, share the channel, represent. Let me know what your favorite car is, and hopefully I'll catch you at the next car show. You know, I often get asked why I sold my 1994 NSX. Yes, I did have a 1994 NSX, and it was clean. I have pretty much done everything that can be done to that car. It started off with red, pretty stock. I think it had exhaust on it when I got it. The guy barely drove it, took pristine care of the car. It was just a really clean ride, and I enjoyed it. You know, I pushed the car to its limits, took it on a couple rallies, went down to Mexico, seeing what it could do on the top end. You know, I had that thing at one point doing, when I was in Mexico, I had it maxed out. It said 160 on the speedometer, but it didn't go that high. But it did do its due, and man, I had that RPMs just revving, and it was a fun car, man. Took it through the canyons a lot. You know, I had fun with that car, and me and my wife enjoyed it. And then I ended up running across a so-called tuner who said, "Oh man, let's turbo the car." He didn't know what the hell he was doing. So I took a perfectly good NSX, and it ended up in his shop, and yeah, once it ended up in his shop, man, he didn't know what the hell he was doing. And he took the motor apart, took it out, and had the car in pieces. And I got screwed, man. He's a piece of shit. Cold piece of shit, right? Motor out the car, transmission out the car, paint scratched up, and the car was stuck there, you know? The only thing he did do was have the block sleeved, but that's about it. So I fell out with this piece of shit, right? I took the car to another mechanic who had worked on two of my other cars, who ended up screwing those cars up. Long story, man. I can go on about those cars too, but ended up screwing those cars up. So I took it to this other mechanic and spent a shit ton of money on OEM parts to put the motor back together. And they assembled it, put the trans in, and I drove the car, and it drove like shit. And I come to find out when I took it to an NSX specialist after that, because one thing I'll tell you about JDM cars is that you don't want to take it to somebody who works on Fords and Chevys. You're not going to get the expertise. You got to take that type of car to somebody who specializes in NSX cars in particular. So I took it to another guy in Orange County. They were on point. They looked at the car and said, "Man, you're only running off 5 cylinders. We got to break your motor down, put it back together. You know, we got to go through your trans, your water pump, is it the OEM water pump? You know, blah, 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 blah." So, man, they went through the car. I ended up getting the Japanese differential in there. I had the tranny built. The car had headers on it. I had a big brake kit put on the car. I had a lift in the front, air for like an air lift so that I can go over bumps. I had what was it? Custom intake, custom wheels to fit the big brake kit, the R1 brake kit, carbon fiber, body moldings. Went with a a Nardo gray. When I got done with the car, I mean, dude, it was a one of a kind. That car, it was on a whole nother level when it came to NSX builds. It was clean. It was one of the cleanest NSX builds probably out there at the time in SoCal. I mean, it had everything. It had all the best stuff on it. I mean, the car was brand new. You know, basically, I had redid everything: tranny, brakes, engine. You know, there was nothing old on the car. Everything that needed to be upgraded was upgraded. I drove the car at car shows, you know, had a fun time. The car killed it. Everybody loved the car. But I was getting tested. I was getting tested by damn diesel trucks, Mitsubishis, Subarus. Everybody was testing me. And with all I did to the motor, you know, naturally aspirated, it wasn't even, I don't think, pushing 300 to the wheels. You know, I would have to go twin turbo or supercharger, and that was what my next step was going to be. But, you know, spending that extra money at the time, after I'd already dumped all that money into the car, I just felt like, man, do I want to spend this X amount of dollars, twin turbo in the car to get 500 horsepower? In retrospect, I could have done it, but you know, I chose not to. I went ahead and decided to sell the car instead and get something else, I guess, exotic, but European. So after that, I sold that car. I got a Bentley Continental GT, like a 05, 06. I'd always liked the Bentley, and I got in that thing in V12, 500 horse, and I felt like an old man in that car. The car was powerful, but not very nimble. It wasn't like the NSX, but it had a lot more room, and I enjoyed it. You know, I enjoyed that car for a very short period of time. I sold the car within probably 4 or 5 months. I didn't have the car that long. I drove for a little while and got something else. But yeah, I sold the NSX, bought the Bentley. And, you know, I think back to having that car, the NSX, but driving around in LA with all the potholes and, man, the streets, it was so low to the ground. And, you know, with another big guy in the car, we were pretty much shoulder to shoulder. But I felt like I was in a go-kart. Oh, I forgot, I also did the clutch. I had a high-performance clutch in that car, too. I redid the clutch. Yeah, so it had everything done to it. The guy I sold it to, Sancho Lee in Sacramento, shout out to you. He now enjoys the car. He's done a few things to it. I think he changed the wheels, but, you know, it wasn't nothing you really needed to do. I mean, all he had to do was put a turbo on that car, and it's, you know, it's the shit. Will I get another one in the future? Who knows? You know, I bought that car originally because I remember seeing it on Pulp Fiction. The Wolf. He had an NSX, and I'm like, man, I'm gonna get one of those one day. And I was looking at JDM cars, and it was between the NSX and the Supra. And the NSX was more exotic, in my opinion, at the time. So I went ahead and got the NSX, even though it didn't have the power that the Supra had. But I don't know, maybe I'll get another one day. It's not a car you take on long trips. There's not a lot of luggage space in that car. And I used to take the car to Vegas. You know, I took it to Vegas, I want to say twice. And then I also took it to Vegas, yeah, twice. Man, I don't know how we did that trip with the luggage. And then I drove the car also to Sacramento from LA. So I did some road trips in that car, man. It was no joke. I mean, you know, I used to cruise at, you know, 90, 100 in that car, and it'd just go. But yeah, man, that's why I sold my NSX. I know in value it went up probably another 20 grand since I sold it, you know, pre-COVID. Definitely a collector's item now. I'm not gonna be able to get it as cheap as I picked it up for. But I know the person I sold it to is enjoying it. And hey, it's one of the cars I had that I look back on and say, but I keep moving forward, and I got a couple other cars I'm working on right now that I'm excited to get home and start enjoying. Hope you enjoyed that story. Big Herc 916, muscle up. Hello, my name is Big Herc 916, and I'm with the Wash Your Ass Committee, and I'm traveling across America helping people wash their ass and get their booty holes clean. And I have with me here today Wash Your Ass Soap, and this one in particular is Butt Naked Scrub, but I also have Festival, Oatmeal Milk and Honey, Jamaican Me Crazy, Monkey Farts, and all these scents smell very good. They will help cleanse your body of funk and also make you feel better about yourself. So if you can go to BigHerc916.com, you can pick you up a bar. And my goal is to help America combat funk.